Hello again. I've got a pair of 1911 grips. These are ivory that my client wanted me to carve eagles on both sides of the grip. So what I've done is I've carboned up a piece of paper and I'm now applying the design on just by tracing over what I've got drawn here, and I'm laying down really heavy line, applying probably more pressure than I need to, only to deposit a generous amount of graphite on this image, because on the other side of the grip, on this grip over here, I'm going to simply flip the paper over. This is my plan, my hopes, and my dreams, is that I'm just going to do a rubbing over it, and this graphite should transfer onto the grip right where I want it. So they'll be, well, not identical perhaps, but very close. I don't have to worry about doing the border or the ring around the screw holes, because I can do them freehand on the piece itself. But getting the eagle laid out the same and fitting just right, that's a trick. And I usually do this when I need to duplicate an image. So let's see, I think I've got all my everythings. So let's see what happened. Ta-da! So it's on there, and I can fill in all the blanks. What I do next is lay out the border. Now I'm going to outline this with this tool. This is one of my favorite go-tos. It's got a triangular end on it. The edges are actually sharp. I can use those for scraping and carving as well, but what I use it for mostly is to plow a line. And it cuts a really nice line. It tracks really nice and straight. That's why I like it for these sort of things. I won't make you watch that whole process, but I basically outline the whole eagle and everything in a similar fashion. Once I get these lines cut in, then I can go back and actually start removing the background. I also don't have to worry about rubbing my design off, which can be a problem. You can see that's got a good deep line. So I'm working on these model 1911 pistol grips. They're ivory, and I needed to cut. I've got the eagle here all outlined and border outlined, and I needed to do the screw holes. Well, making a tight little circle like that and having it come out neat, you know, and round, nice and smooth is a trick. So, and I'm planning on doing more of these, so I thought it'd be smart to make a tool to help me out in that. So I found that I had one 22 Hornet casing kicking around, and found that one section of it was the exact same diameter as this recessed hole here. So I cut it down to that level. It fit, smoothed it all up, and see, it goes in there just really nice. Then I had this square tubing kicking around for about 1 million years. Oh, I finally found a use for it, because where did that get to? I have some tool steel that coincidentally fits. Well, I said fits in there with no wobble hardly at all. So I soldered a piece of it to that casing, made a little handle here, and fit this down through it. Now on the end, you'll see I cut with the Dremel makes these wonderful little cutoff wheels, and they will cut just about anything. So I shaped this with that. First I took off the material I didn't need on either side. I don't know if that's going to be focused there. Maybe that's better. And then I shaped the cut that I wanted, and I wanted it kind of rounded like a beading, because the grips kind of come rounded off in here. So anyway, put the thing in there like that, and with this little L, you apply a little bit of pressure. Gets a nice clean circle around there. I'll just keep doing that until I get the shape the way I want it. But I'm pretty pleased. Now I can, next time I do it, I won't have to make a tool. Sometimes you gotta use what's kicking around. Right now, I've got all the outline done, and I'm working at wasting away the background. So I'm just pushing it back. This is a fairly thin piece of ivory, and because it is what it is, I try not to take off too much material to maintain the integrity of the pistol grip. So I'm using a fairly shallow base relief, and as I said, I've got everything outlined. So I'm taking the background down with the chisel. They call it walking engraving or rocker engraving. Got your chisel upside down to how you'd usually use a chisel, and set it into that starting point there, and you literally just walk it across the surface, and you can see the chips flying off of it with very little effort. And just move down. For me, at this type of carving, I prefer this over power tool, just because a power tool can be pretty aggressive at times and harder to get an even layer taken off. This chisel, this technique, really only takes so much each pass, so you get a pretty nice even field behind there, and it moves right along. Get into a zone. But yeah, it makes the chips. So anyway, this is how I'm doing it. After you get the background kind of wasted away like that, you can take the chisel and go around and sort of clean up the edges. And then once you get to that point, I move to this tool here, which is a triangular little knife that I made. I make most of my tools out of jeweler's files or other files, a nice hard carbon steel. Hard enough, I don't need anything too fancy. I've already started a little bit up here, but because the surface now is all knurled up and little bumps, those bumps are kind of weak and vulnerable to attack by the knife. So you can come along and scrape them right off. This is, I'm going to take down the whole background, and then I'll go over it with various grades of sandpaper to finish leveling and smoothing it. A lot of times I use this knife and my thumb as a fulcrum in it. It gives you more control for one thing. It gives you a lot more power. Anyway, you can see that that's smoothing off quite nicely. I wanted to get a little bit ahead so that I could show you more things in a short amount of time. So what I have done since last we spoke was I carved away all the background, and I smoothed it down as I demonstrated earlier with this little knife. I scraped it down and then sanded it. I did a real, careful job getting in between all the little tight spots like in here and everything. So it's a little details that matter. So I got the background all sanded down. Then I carved the feathers on this wing, and I've since also not oiled them, but inked them with the walnut tea that I use. And that just kind of brings up all the details that you put into it. So what I wanted to show you is I stepped down the different layers of the feathering on the wing first. And to do that, I use a little plow here, Baron, and hopefully stay in focus here or in the screen. This cuts a nice deep line. That. Then I use this knife again to actually carve away this layer. And this particular piece of ivory, the way it's been cut and everything, and the way the grain lays, it scrapes cleaner if I head down towards the butt end of it like this. You can actually hear the difference. It cuts smoother and doesn't dig in as much. Doesn't leave me a lot to hang on to, but sometimes with the smaller projects like this, I'll actually glue them right to a piece of wood or something that I can hang on to better, but this is working out okay for now. So this levels it off nice. Maybe you can see in the shadows. But so that's that, and then I wanted to do a little bit of actual feather work. So I've got where I've scraped it down. I've lost some of my line, so I just put that back. You would be amazed at how quickly you can get off course if you don't have a little reminder where you're heading. All right, that ought to keep me honest. So again, with a little burn, plow my way through. This tool cuts cleanly, and it doesn't seem to run away. You know, I get the angle right so it digs in proper, not too much. It doesn't ski out of the groove and take off on me. Ordinarily, I'd cut them all in before I moved on to the next phase, but in the spirit of get on with it, I'm going to get back and do the feather here. All right, so these guys kind of done. Clean that up. So again, most important tool. There. Quill is in. Go back to our, where'd she go? There. Be really careful not to knock my quill off. That's pretty good. So the next part of doing the feather is to put the fletching in. And I used this little knife that I made out of a, guess what, a file. And it has a nice hook to it, you know, a nice angle, so it really digs in nice and tracks well and everything. I sharpened this blade down really careful before I started these feathers to ensure that the cutting edge was straight and went right down to a nice clean point at the tip. And that's what's digging in here. Sometimes you have to hold the thing in the light to see where you've been, where you need to go back to. Okay, pretty good on the fletching. Many times feathers will, well, all that fletching is held together. Each piece, each strand of it is held together almost like Velcro, but sometimes they come apart and they leave a little gap or like a crack or something in the fletching. So I go back with my little plow here and throw a few of those in. There goes my door alarm. So anyway, then you apply a little of this, a little bit of this ink. Just a wee bit. So this is it kind of inked in, and then I take the steel wool. And clean off the surface with that. So like I said, ordinarily I'd do everything first, you know, all the feathering, and then go back and do all the fletching and then the inking and everything. But I just wanted to show you guys how it kind of happens. Hopefully, if you're doing something like this, it'll help you, you know, carve it a little bit. And what we're going to do today is, or right now, is carve in all the little feathers in his body. I'm going to hold on that for a little bit. But we'll be doing it with this same little burn and the same, pretty much same trick as the big feathers. I'll start here at the neckline. So I'd say get all the feathers outlined with this thing. Then I'll show you here. I'll take my little triangular knife there and just go right into that little point. A little shingled look to it. Catch off of it. So I won't drag you along through the whole thing, but that's what I'm going to do now is just outline all those feathers and then go back in and knock off those little corners and then thanks. So this side is done, and just take it off the board. You see, I can see the board I put together for this. Just put a couple dowels up through that fit the holes in the grip. I'm going to be doing the other grip just like this one, so probably won't bore you with a bunch of repetitive stuff. But if you feel like you missed something or you wanted a little more explanation on a part of it somewhere along the line, let me know and I'll try to cover that. It's the finished grips. Everything worked out really good. They seem to be very popular. Showed them about. People seem to like them a lot. I do too. So, thanks for checking them out, and guys have a great day.